Patience. Patience. It's waiting for God's time and not our own time, not making our own plans. But when we follow God's perfect will for our lives, like better stuff's just gonna happen, period. Maybe we're about to be late to something and we're on our way to that place and we're driving and we're getting impatient with the people in front of us because they're not in a rush for anything. That's an example of not having patience. Patience is something a lot of us lack and we don't even realize it sometimes. Impatience is a fleshly thing. When we're impatient, we're feeding our flesh. Our soul is disrupted, whether that be anger or anxiety or even just like depression. Something being far away can make us kind of, make us feel down a little bit, But I like what it says in Romans 8. But if we hope for what we do not see, we eagerly wait for it with perseverance. Perseverance is the same thing as patience. But perseverance is putting in the work to something, waiting for something no matter how many times the result doesn't show up. No matter how many times we don't get what we want right then and there, we keep on doing it anyways. And when God gives us blessings in our life, it's on His time. And the blessings we want it right then and there. But to get there, we don't realize it takes work to get to that point. There's work we need to be doing right now, in this moment, instead of just sitting here doing nothing, waiting impatiently for that blessing to come upon our lives. In James 5:8 it says, "You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand." Establish our hearts. What does establishing our hearts mean? Establishing is doing it in this moment. Grounding your hearts right here where God is. He's right here, right now, with us, no matter what point we are in life. And He's given us work. He's given us tools. He's given us a spirit to have patience, wait on the Lord. Instead of running after all these things we want, being impatient for all these things we want, why don't we hold on to the promise that God is coming back? That is the greatest blessing of all. Not our fleshly desires. They're going to amount to nothing one day. They'll be as a dust and perish away. Because we're only here for a short while. We don't have time to be impatient. We gotta make use of this time we have right now. And what put me on to talking about patience today is this chapter in the Ecclesiastes, where King Solomon was writing about how important time is, and that there's a time for everything. It's in chapter 3. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. I'll read off a couple of these. A time to plant, a time to pluck what is planted, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, a time to lose, a time to tear, a time to sue, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. God's designed for this universe, for us. He's mysterious. He works mysteriously, and we don't know what His plans are. He's so sovereign. And He's created a time for everything. He created time itself. When we get worried about time and we're impatient and we're anxious for things, it's disrupting to our souls. It even says it in Luke 21:19. By your patience possesses your souls. It's true. I mean, you ever be patient for something? You're just driving on your way somewhere and you're just not in a rush for anything. Do you feel how good that feels? You're waiting on the blessing from the Lord when you say, you know what? Let your will be done. And you just feel so good. You just feel like, it just feels so right. It's true. We can't control time. When we let God control time, when we let God control the plan for our life, it's good for our souls. We gotta begin to spend time in God's presence. You know, that's doing the work. That's worshiping Him at all times, whether we're sad, whether we're happy, whether we're stressed, whether we're mad. At all times, no matter how we feel. Because He's faithful. He knows what we want. But we gotta wait patiently. The coming of the Lord is at hand. But anyways, that's all I have in this one. I hope it spoke to y'all. Keep your head up, practice patience, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.